come on in. The Silverblood Inn has plenty of strong drink and clean rooms.
Give us a coin, Koznak. You'll just spend it on cheap ale anyway. Like you won't do different. I'm a cripple. I have a reason to be drinking. And I'm a porter with no shipments coming in. You're not getting any coin from me to gain.
Pardon me, stranger. Will you help me raise a flagon for my dear departed brother? May he find peace in Sovngarde.
Sometimes I think we deserve these miserable lives of ours.
No need to be sorry, lad. These are happy times. And he's in a better place, drinking far better mead than we could ever imagine. He was a member of the city guard here in Markarth. Worked the night watch out by the entrance. Wasn't like them lazy gargoyles who just sleep through their shift and hope that Madanak isn't cooking them breakfast in the morning. No, he stood at his post every night like a bloody draugr, and only when the sun finally crawled over the mountains would he sheathe his sword. Best damn soldier in the Reach. Best man in all of Skyrim. I told him as much myself. Called him everything from a bloodsucker to a cave bat. I would have bolted his chair to the ceiling, too, if it weren't for all this stone. Yet, gracious as he was, he took it all in stride. A bloody priest he was. God bless his memory. Bravely, as only he could, a group of forsworn stragglers, covered by darkness, made a daring attack at the front gate. My brother caught sight of them immediately and ran up the steps to fire the mechanical bow. Only some foolish sod must have forgot to grease it or something, because the lever was jammed. Worse yet, the guard manning the tower was fast asleep and didn't sound the horn. My brother would have to defend the city gates by himself. He may have died, but I'm proud to say he took 3 of those savages and a Briarheart with him. He put the fear of Talos in the rest of those stragglers. Let them know that every Reachman was worth a dozen of those forsworn bastards. The rest of the wild folk fled into the night. Who knows what would have happened had they breached the gate? Right you are! Not that any of these ungrateful sods know it. They go about their lives as if nothing happened, and nothing did happen, thanks to my brother. He's the one who took on the Forsworn, giving his watch brother Wuthmar time to alert the rest of the guard. We'd all be dead if it weren't for him. We should all raise our flagons to Ungver the Undaunted, defender of the Reach. Anyone who doesn't think so, feel free to raise your hand and punch yourself in the face with it. I trust him with my life and vouch for his words with my own. Wuthmar was more than a watch brother to me and Ungver. He was our best friend. We even made him an honorary member of the family. Thick as thieves, the three of us, ever since childhood. I'd sooner believe Dongvor craps silver before I'd believe Wuthmar is a liar. I'm a bit embarrassed to say it, but it was a mud crab. Thing jumped out of nowhere and tried to snatch it, like a thief swiping a pearl. Bless my brother's heart. When he found out, he almost ripped out his own eye, just so we'd match. Of course, he wouldn't have had to if I hadn't taken pity on that crazy chef and his worthless potions. I drank 4 or 5 of them, and nary felt a thing. When my eye kept bleeding, I sent to oblivion with it, and poured it over my eye. Might have made it worse. By Ysmir's beard, it felt like a bloody beehive was milling around in my eye, the way it stung, and smelled like honey. I've got to hand it to that chef, though. Here I was, about to lose my eye, and half of me was thinking about how I wanted another taste. Tell that to my watch brothers. But you're right. If any of them raises a stink, I'll just beat them to a pulp. The only bigger shame than a man who was bested by a mud crab is losing to that man in a brawl. I wear it with pride, stranger, and I won't ever change my colors. I don't care who wins the war. I don't care if a damn forsworn sits on the throne. This is the uniform my brother wore, and this is the uniform I'll wear when I meet him in Sovngarde. Ah, perhaps you've heard stories then of how Silverblood money has tainted our ranks since the day this dwarven city was settled. That's a lie. We Nords are a proud race, and no amount of coin is worth staining our honor. A Nord would sooner give up his own thumbs than use them to pocket a piece of tainted gold. If my brother were here, he'd vomit at the very notion of a Nord taking a bribe. No, there was never any corruption in this city, and there never will be, no matter who sits on the throne, so long as Nords man the towers. Yes, if the gossips and rumor mongers want to ply their trades with lies, they should try a less ridiculous notion than a Nord succumbing to bribes. All right then.
Alms. I said alms, you backbiter. Give a crippled worker a helping hand. Finally. Now get lost. Aye, a whole heap of it. You see that temple? Way up there? All them women keeping to themselves? Won't let poor Degain in, nope. Not even for a look. But they've got a treasure in there. Gold statue size of a child. Who knows what they use it for, but I know what I'll use it for. Well, let's not put it like that. Wouldn't want the Thieves Guild catching wind of us, eh? Nah, just creep in and have a go at taking it out. I'll be here and pay you half of what my man in Riften promised for it. You'll be helping out an old beggar, and the divine smile on that sort of thing.
Ah, another adventurer. You must be here seeking to sample my culinary potions. They are known throughout Tamriel as the first potions capable of healing the body while delighting the palate. So you are unfamiliar with my work? How uncultured of you. My name is Clario Moorsley, the finest alchemical cook in all of Tamriel. The recipe's at my shop in High Rock, I'm afraid. Although the truth is, I can't be bothered with the practice any longer. You see, I have already moved on to the next frontier, cooking with magic. I am experimenting with magic as a culinary tool. I had begun with restoration in an attempt to remove the unwanted side effects from my earlier work. I have abandoned that practice to focus on the effects of illusion magic and how it can influence one's sense of taste. You see, every person has a different palate, and this means a different experience, regardless of whether one eats the same food. Sating one's palate is not just a product of how a meal tastes, but how the mind perceives an object's flavor. Well, my latest dish combines the alchemical properties of creep clusters and giant's toe as additives in foods heavy with starch. The result is a lighter, fluffier bread and potatoes that melt in your mouth. The dilemma is getting patrons to try something cooked with the toenail clippings of one of those primitive ogres. If a courage spell could be activated by the aroma of a dish, it could deflect any fears rooted in perception. The dough is not sticking out of the dish like a birthday candle. It is ground up, mixed, and baked. You do not see or taste anything unsavory. If the ingredients were left to mystery, patrons would find it hard not to lick their plates clean. Then how will anyone know of my genius? They will think me a simple cook. The very thought pains me deeply. Ask questions if you must, but I suggest you read the book that I have left in the chef's quarters. It is quite thorough. Although at times I admit it is far too didactic. It does not capture the spirit of my invention, for I am an artist, an auteur. Well, unlike some of my more unadventurous peers, my cuisine is the product of my creative vision. It pushes the boundaries of what is food. This is not to say my creations are merely limited to sating the appetite. While Julianus blessed me with wisdom, Stendhal has gifted me with mercy. That is what led me to developing the world's first delectable health potion. Good for the body, pleasing to the palate. How dare you insinuate that avarice and not art was my motivation? And for your information, the potion does work. Not as effectively as a traditional potion, but it suffices for minor cuts and bruises. I did not say the potion does not work. I merely said its healing effects were not as noticeable as a traditional potion. There are also some side effects, but its unequaled flavor more than compensates for its minor failings. You must understand, the art of cooking is a very delicate process. The recipe, the quality of ingredients, and the skill of the chef all affect the end product. If one were to mix a restore potion out of wheat and Blue Mountain flour, he may be tempted to mix in a piece of honeycomb to sweeten the taste. The result might be a health potion that simultaneously ravages his stamina. Perhaps. I know of mages who add a little extra moon sugar to their magica potions for flavor. Yet, when they drink said potion, their enemies double in number and grow fangs that touch the floor. But that is a risk we must take. Taste is paramount. That is my duty as chef. Nor do I look like a cook, for I am far too handsome to be any of the three. But you are right. I do not have the training in this field. My assistant, Miley Hawking, handles such matters. She is also a writer and publishes my various recipes in culinary musings. I regret she was unable to accompany me on this trip, as one of my dishes had some unwanted consequences which I do not wish to speak of. I regret she was unable to accompany me on this trip, as one of my dishes had some unwanted consequences which I do not wish to speak of. Let us just say, I will not cast aspersions on her husband if he leaves her for another woman. Or something that at least resembles one. It is not my fault, mind you. Miley is quite devoted to my cause, and at times she will sample things that are purely experimental in nature. I came because I heard a rumor that the Jarl's chef was a friend of the gourmet. I wished for him to set up a culinary duel where I would be declared once and for all the finest chef in all of Tamriel. But the fool wouldn't even acknowledge his relationship with the impostor. Naturally, I took this as a sign of his surrender. I suspect not. I simply hope he does not cower away and retire. It would be much harder to topple the myth of his potage than the actual dish. Then, if you'll pardon me, I need to update some leaflets. It occurred to me that another advantage of my potions is being able to distinguish between health and magicka by virtue of taste. And before you tell me they have different colors, let me remind you that in the cauldron of battle, one does not have time to inspect his bottle. Yet if he sips and recognizes the flavor, he will know which of my potions he imbibes.
There's no shipments coming in, so I do nothing. Just drink. Arnleaf and Sons Trading Company. I'm a porter. Just some muscle hired to move heavy packages. But we don't get any shipments in. Forsworn attack every caravan. So all I do is sit here and drink. I'm drunk, and it's been a while since I had a good fight. 100 septim says I can take you. Barehanded. That's the spirit. Let's go. 12 seconds.
Kill it. Good. Fight, fight!
Stick and move! Stick and move!
Wait! I can still fight. No.
Keep those hands
No, I
up.
can't.
Guard yourself, Ayar. Keep
Fair
your hands
fight.
up.
Here you are.
Well, if it isn't my old companion. How many people have you killed since we last met? Hundreds? Thousands? Keep at it, friend, and someday you might even reach my count, if I start to get lazy. Likewise, friend. Likewise. Small world running into you like this. Although this city's so big, it might just take up half of it. These dwarves do have a knack for making awe-inspiring structures. Reminds me of the arena. Reminds me of home. Then later, I remembered there was an entire city made out of dwarven ruins. Seemed like just the place for a guy like me to be. But, I think I'm ready to start adventuring again. If you're game. Look what the tide brought in. And is that the diamond of Riverwood behind you?
It's good to see you too, Gar. The sleeping champion is not the same without you there to wake it up.
Maybe. But I bet Orknar enjoys the peace and quiet. Of course, with all three of us gone, I imagine that place ain't much different from a morgue. That poor fellow never did know which way was right side up. Reminds me of a bandit or two I flipped on the way here.
See? Riverwood is far more lively with you around. Everyone still asks about you, even people from out of town.
All good things, I hope.
Of course! I thought this one Khajiit wouldn't call you by name. He kept calling you... how I forget. It was something furry. Help me out, my hero. What is brown and furry and works on all fours? I do as well. But it was not such a large animal. It was a type of dog, but I can't recall what.
I know back in the arena, I started out as a pit dog. But I haven't been one of those for ages.
That's it! He kept calling you a pit dog, which doesn't make much sense. If anything, you're a horker.
If I was a horker, I reckon that would make me a cannibal. But I wouldn't mind meeting this stranger and seeing if maybe a warhammer to the chest can't change his opinion. That it does. It tends to leave people at a loss for words. And I'm pretty sure I know why this little bird is chirping my name. You see, there's this underground arena I've been hearing about. The whole setup was a little fishy, so I told them no thanks. Maybe now they're trying to use that to their advantage. As if I'm too much of a soft gut to fight in their arena.
Why do you think it was a setup? Wouldn't they want the famous gladiator to be a part of the arena?
At first, maybe. Just to bring in the crowds. But I ain't exactly what you call an entertaining fighter. Most of my fights end pretty quick, and I don't play to the crowd. The only thing I got is my name and my record. And all my time in the Imperial City, I ain't never lost a fight. So, if I lose in this arena, it'll give them something the folks in Cyrodiil ain't never seen. My death. The only question now is where to find these people and wash my name out of their mouths.
Well, the person I talked to was headed towards Whiterun. I thought about following him as he was very suspicious, but then Jaromir came yelling up behind him asking if he wanted his robes washed.
Then we ought to head to the Bannered Mare. You should lead the way, lest my stomach take us to Lake Yogrim. So, Princess, you still using those big, clumsy two-handed weapons?
I am, when my hero allows it.
Good for you.
I'm what you'd call a soldier of fortune. Make me an offer, and I just might fight at your side. Watch your back, friend. Better yet, pay me to do it for you.
If it's a mercenary you're looking for, you found him. There's no stronger sword arm for hire in all Skyrim. Best not to walk the roads of Skyrim alone. Yes?
This is the Silver Blood Inn. I'll let you figure out who owns it by yourself. Ah, Boley finally got someone out here. Well, it's about time. I've been waiting for weeks. Well, thank you for bringing it, I suppose. Have a good day. What? Oh, how could I have possibly forgotten? Your reward, of course. Of course. Here you are. So sorry about that. Here, take a look at this. Some of the Jarl's men came by and left this bounty letter. Ah, yes. Here, take a look at this. Got a witch hunter in town from the priesthood of Stendarr. Keeps asking questions about that old abandoned house. Did you hear? The Hall of the Dead is closed. Brother Veralis isn't the most popular man in town right now. Any aspiring mage would do well to look for the college in Winterhold. Head there, and you'll get what you're after. Although our Jarl's humble wizard might be willing to help you too. Remember, ale is cheaper than blood in Markarth.
An inn. Where are we sleeping? And more importantly, what are we eating?
Yes?
Unlike my husband Clever, I watch after our guests. I should remind Clever to clean this place up. Nothing, you pig-headed oaf.
A forsworn agent? Running loose in the city? The Jarl is going to hear about this.
The Jarl has things under control. Don't you worry.
This was their city once. They won't stop until we're all dead.
Now you're being ridiculous. This is our city, not theirs. Frobby, our customer needs a drink.
You want a drink? Depends. Are you thirsty, hungry, both? Too lazy to give him a drink yourself? Oaf. All the wood furniture in this inn is rotten to the core. Do you know why that is, Clever?
I don't know, my darling wife. I assume you're going to tell me?
It's rotten because the wood is cheap and it's soaked with ale. Now we'll have to replace all the furniture before bugs set in.
Don't worry, my love. Just show the bugs your adoring face, and they'll scurry away in complete fear in no time.
You're an idiot, Clever. Why did I ever marry you?
Not a day goes by I don't ask that question myself, my dear. If I can't get you something, I'm sure my wife will bellow at me until I can. Sure thing. It's yours for a day. I'll show you to your room. Right this way. Let me know if there's anything else you need.
Some of the guards back there were saying this place is ran by money. I don't like it. Had enough of that business in the arena.
Another drink, Koznak? A porter with Arnleif and Sons deserves nothing but the finest here.
All your drinks are watered down, Clever. You aren't fooling me, and you know Lisbeth can't afford to pay me enough for the finest drinks anyhow.
I wasn't aware that Lisbeth was having trouble, Koznak. Is Arnleif and Sons not doing a good turn of business these days?
What, are you blind? The store's empty. Forsworn get almost every shipment that comes in.
That's just terrible. I'm so sorry to hear that.
No, you aren't. How did you manage to cripple yourself, Decane? Mining accident, back when I was in prison for being a pickpocket. You're lying. You're not quick enough to be a pickpocket. What's the real reason? Fell off the top of the cliff after a drunken party with the priestesses of Dibella. I don't buy that story either. Too bad. That one's my favorite.
My father, Klepper, is the one you want to talk to. I just clean up.
Good friends. You'll like it.
Yeah. Mother? Hey! Stay away from her.
Playing
What
tonight
can an
on-
old skald do for
Everyone
you,
here is
huh?
anxious to hear the old ballads performed by the true skald of the Reach.
Well, you've come
Maybe
to the
just one
right
of
place.
Popular songs like The Slaying of the Former Princes.
That's about the truth of it. Write tales about the sights I've seen, the battles I've fought. Earned quite a name for myself when I was younger. The Bard's College still teaches some of my work to their students. Sure, what can I do for you? Good fighting to you.
My favorite drinking buddy. Let's get some mead.
Don't mind the yelling. My parents are always going at each other.
You don't know anything about this house?
No.
Anyone seen entering or leaving? Strange lights or unusual noises?
It's abandoned, and it's always been abandoned.
Excuse me, but do you know anything about this house? Seen anyone enter or leave? I'm with the Vigil of Stendar. We believe this house might have been used for Daedra worship, evil rites and so forth. Thank you for your time.
Yes?
Oh, wow. That was just sitting there? I wish I found it first. Hmm?
bloody enough for you, outsider? Markarth, is it bloody enough for you? Then you found your home, friend. Blood and silver are what flows through Markarth. Welcome. It's right there in the name of the most powerful family in Markarth, the Silverbloods. They have a whole mine filled with prisoners to dig up silver ore, get smelted by workers they pay, and they own half the city. I work for them. The inn is named after them. When the guards make an arrest, they check with them first. No. I live in a nice house in solitude, where the air isn't filled with smoke from the silver smelters, and golden-haired girls shine my shield. Been here ever since I left the Bard's College. Turns out a few muscles earn more gold than a damn loot. The Silverbloods pay me, let me crack a few skulls, and keep the guards off my back. That's all I need. Jarl is who you want to talk to. Always coin to be made killing off some Forsworn in the hills. As long as you don't mind going axe to axe with a bunch of Daedra-worshipping savages who practice the dark arts. Yeah.
Small skeever den just east of the city, at Reachwater Rock. Where the bow, eh? I'm a swordman myself. Hail, companion.